Okay, I'm Cindy Hart. This is the Acton Road Committee, April 15th, 2019. First is the Pledge of Allegiance. Where's our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since our chairman is not here, he's on vacation for a month, we're going to elect our first temporary chair as our first item. Are there any nominations?
I'll make a motion to elect Leslie.
I second. Brendan?
Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Leslie, you can take over.
Minutes of the last meeting, I'm going to have to look for them. We have an agenda, but we don't have the minutes, so. Yeah, I can do that. Is that better? Is that better? You don't want me to be too loud. I don't think so. Okay. Anyway, so do you have, Jay, do you have them?
I'll have to look for them. I think I have them.
Okay, yeah, if you could look for them and send them to me,
Sure.
and then we'll have them for the next meeting. 7th Street status, is Elise coming?
Elise is right here.
Oh.
I just had a question, Elise, whether, we went up and looked at, I went up and looked at the road. They've done a tremendous amount of work on 7th Street. And just to be a Class B, I wanted to make sure that they were aware it had to be fee simple, as opposed to easements.
What I can give you, if you can give it back to me, is, I'll give you the packet that Mark Cody wrote up, or drafted, or put together. Want to see if it's in there? I mean, I can look real quick, but
No, I just wanted to show you right on the first part, number 1, it says fee simple.
okay.
So that's, that you would have deeds. And the reason I bring it up is because when we did Peacock Street many, many years ago, we made a mistake when we did it. When we got the deed into our possession, it was filed with the registry prior to town meeting. And fortunately, the town meeting voted it in because we had already filed it with the registry. And I just wanted to make sure that we dot the i's and cross the t's on it, because Class B is different than an easement.
I'll look into that.
Okay.
All right, the RSMS status update.
Again, I ask you,
I'll table that.
I'm sorry?
table it?
I'll table that until we can do what we're doing with the ordinances.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have Row Bridge. I was hoping that Joe would be here because the past 2 days, well, Sunday, I drove through, coming back from Boston, and stopped and took some video of problems with culverts there, and there is water bubbling up in the ground going directly into the river. There's also another problem on a culvert under a driveway right over by Hussey Hill, where that is also going into the river. Cindy and I went back today, and I took another set of videos where the bubbling up is worse. And after the meeting, if anyone would like me to show them the video, I have it on my phone. So, Elise, do we know the status as to why Joe isn't here?
I know he's coming for warrant and finance at 6.
I'd like to add to that there was also a septic odor to the water that was bubbling out in small pebbles you'll see on it. And I want to ask right now about what the status is with the HEB preliminary report. We voted $20,000 to get a preliminary. I'm afraid the road is being undermined by water around the culverts. There's a 4-inch crack in the middle of the road that water is going into. If a motorcycle tire caught in that, they'd definitely spill. It's a huge liability factor. And beyond that, we need to have an engineer look at this. We've paid for it, and I think that report was voted on weeks ago to get him going.
I know they were waiting for snow to melt, but I'll send an email to see what his update is.
Yeah, see, if it's coming under the road, you've got a real problem.
There's another problem down there in the hopper, down, I don't know how to explain it, but it's before Molavas's place. The water's about 2-3 inches maybe, below the tire on the left-hand side going down through, because obviously the culverts are clogged up, and that's going to be washing across the rain continues for the night, it'll be washing across the road before the night's over.
Yeah, I
So
saw
there was
that today.
There was a portion of the road that was almost half covered
Yeah,
with water.
yeah, this is definitely a problem.
We also went on to the canal bridge, that's not on here. We went on to the canal bridge, there's been more runoff. Wakefield tried to fix some of the holes, they put in some small round rocks, but those have been spun right out by the cars going over them. There's also been, where more runoff has come around the road, you can see where it's undercutting, again, on the sides of the bridge. The guardrail is the bottom of it that it should be fastened to, and is fastened to, is suspended in midair, so there's
Yeah.
nothing at all under that.
That was only one of them.
That was
There
only
there-
one of them.
There was 3 supports that were supposed to be on the bridge, holding the guardrail. 2 of them were in place, 1 of them was not.
We have,
And I have photos of it too, if anyone wants to see it. Now, is that it on Row Bridge for right now?
Yep, that's
All
it.
right. Next thing we have, I printed out copies of the grant applications for the stream crossings. I do have extras if anyone wants a copy of them. There's an awful lot of information we need to gather. And we have now 7 weeks to pull this all together. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. I've talked to Dave Langley, and he's got, Dave, you want to come up and?
Okay, good evening. So, as our conversation we had at the last selectmen's meeting, took me a few days to look at some stuff and get some ideas. The H Road Bridge or Schoolhouse Hill culvert is what we talk about. We inspected that. There is galvanized on each side of it, but there's actually cement culvert underneath the main part of the road. So when they built that road back in the early 50s, they did put a actual cement culvert in there. So I reached out to E.J. Prescott out of Gardner, Maine, which is one of the largest underground utility companies that vendors from stabilization to pipe to water, sewer, and what they do now is it's called PPF. It's a plastic pipe fabrication, and what we do is they butt fuse thick wall plastic pipe together. So what we'd end up doing would be to slip line that culvert. It doesn't impact the travel, because you got to remember that's our main road to the north end of town. It's the main road for the transfer station. You figure you'd probably have to pull probably close to 800 feet of guide rail if you were to conventionally dig that culvert. Then you got to truck it off. You got to find a place to store it, and then you got to pave it. So in this day and age, what they do is they came out. I do have, as soon as I get an internet access, I can give you. I've got 2 quotes for that through E.J. Prescott, and it spells out everything. His idea was to pull 80 feet of pipe through. There's 60 feet of pipe there right now. Pull it 80 what they would do is cement an inlet and outlet, and then they actually grout it. They actually grout that pipe around that. This is done all over New England. They were actually up into Vermont last week. Same idea, had a main road. Only one way into this transfer station into that section of town, so that town decided, well, let's go with this, let's go with the newer stuff, so.
Now, would would the slip lining you're describing
Yep.
be covered under the stream crossing grant?
Yes, that's just it. This is, what they'd end up doing, we'd end up, probably have to, we'd have to do it by permit, by rule, but it is maintenance. We'd call, we'd have to get hold of the Portland DEP office, have them come out and look at it, explain to them what's going on and what we need to do. And we could fix that with a permit with no problem there. We just have to have it in writing what we're gonna do and everything there. So, for a 30-inch HPP slip line culvert, when I can open my computer up, gives the flow chart and everything, he's figured it all out, what the flow is, so on and so forth, because it's smooth bore pipe. That piece of pipe is laid all over the place. That pipe has been laid, it's in the ocean going out to Peaks Island. Your gas main, your natural gas main is made through it and everything with that type of application. So, impact for us, like I said, we'd be down to one lane of traffic, take them 3 days to do it. And, the only other step we'd have to do once the snow goes off that bank is to see, we'd have to do some more stabilization, some big riprap and some seeding and things like that there. But the inlet and outlet of the culvert, they take care of the slip lining. They'd have the crane. We'd pick it up, they'd butt fuse it together, and we'd set it down in there, and we'd take an excavator and we'd push it through, and then they go to work. So saying that there, William also went with him over the West Shore Drive. The same application can be done on West Shore Drive. They have done it before in boat launches, but he'd like to see what the actual as-built. I just spoke to Dennis Long about it. He thinks we do have something in the archive somewhere, so we'd have to look and see. And so we may be able to use that same new technology over there on West Shore Drive too. So a little bit more there'd have to be to it, because they'd have to put some copper dams in, some coffer dams, so they could pump their water out and everything. But pretty much the same idea there. So impact of travel for the people, fire and rescue, and then just the added cost of, like I said, pulling guide rail, having the guide rail company come back, shutting the road down, paving. It's on and on and on. That culvert's roughly, 25 feet deep. At 25 feet deep, you'd have quite a hole in there. And like I said, then to find a place to truck it and store it, and bring the material back, I think it would be, to do it the conventional way, to fix these culverts, especially that one on the H Road. So when I get my internet up and running here, I'll take and show you the information, the flow charts and everything. So we do have new technology out there, and I think we really need to look into this. And if we want to, Reggie Colley, who runs this program for EJ Prescott, he come down, give a presentation, a slideshow, so you can see what it's about and everything. So
Yeah, my concern would be that it would qualify for the stream crossing, because, we could get if we could get 50% paid by the state.
Yeah.
With the class that we went to, they were discouraging slip lining. But they didn't say that they wouldn't pay for it, but, that's not their favored
Yep. But in the application that we have, like I said, we the whole northern end of town, for us to have fire protection, we'd have to make sure that Newfield or Wakefield's on board with us.
Right.
Or do we stage an engine for, a week, on the north end of town, either at my farm like we've done before, or, it's just, there's a very large impact. So, and that's something we need to explain to the DEP, is to say we have no other way to get around to the north end of town. And then what are we gonna do? We're gonna shut the transfer station down for a week? Because you still gotta get your haulers in and out. The people have still gotta be able to come in. And, and depending on the time frame of, if we were to do that, and the time frame of doing the work. It most likely, if we did get the money, it wouldn't be till late fall or fall time, which this here they can do year-round. And then we got the impact of the school buses. And the school bus company does not really like divvying from their route of travel and everything. There's a lot, we just need to cross our Ts and dot our Is and educate the DEP. This is the reason why this would probably be the best technology to use, so that's all. There's just a lot of homework we gotta do, but I think we can make it pay off. And when you see the numbers that he gave me, you'll be very surprised and everything, so. I think we could come in and do that project with the extras that we would have to do with the riprap and a little bit of seeding and things. We could definitely get into that for less than 90,000 easy. So I think one of those grants, because you said that grant was for 90.
The maximum they're allowing is 95,000.
Yep.
And I believe they're 50% grants.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then our 50% could come from, either the town or if we applied for another grant, that could be applied.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm not sure that there's any other money out there.
Yeah, that's correct. So, but like I said, I think we can come up with a real good price and do that, so.
Okay.
I'll get some stuff printed out.
Okay, yeah, if you could forward us that information. And do you know offhand about any type of fish or wildlife that is on the H Road one? I know that West Shore,
Yeah.
it affects the fish. But
Yes, yeah,
does
West Shore Drive, they do, when they stock that, they do go into that deeper water over by the boat launch in through there, so we would definitely have an issue there. The one on the H Road, a lot of large turtles and stuff in there, and I believe, I don't know if they still do, but years ago, they were fish in there, so I mean, we do have quite a habitat of wildlife that's in there, so.
Just in,
Yes, yeah, so, yeah.
because 50% of the score for these grants is it affecting
Yeah.
the wildlife,
Yeah.
particularly
Yeah.
fish?
Yeah, very large hatchery for, anybody who travels that and sees it in the springtime for the turtles. We do have some very large turtles that come up and everything there. So I think we could definitely match what they're looking for something like that there too. There is a lot of wildlife in there, so.
So is that in imminent danger of failing?
No, because the sides, from what we looked, when we looked into, like I said, there's probably 20 or 25 feet of that 60 that's actual cement pipe. Like I said, when they built that road back in the 50s, they actually put a piece of cement pipe in there, so. Cement pipe meaning like they use for storm drain, you see on the side road, same idea. So structurally, it's dry and it works and everything, but then when they made the road a little wider, they added the galvanized on each side, so.
And that's the part that looks bad.
Yes,
And
yeah.
when we were at the class, I showed DEP pictures of the outside, and of course, I was gonna crawl in the culvert to see further in, but all of the outside is all corroded.
Yeah.
And,
Great. So that would qualify then, because that's one of the criteria in the grant, is whether it's imminent danger of failure.
Yeah, that ups the score.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In which, we didn't, we shined the light up in there, we'd have to, literally, somebody'd have to crawl in that, in that 34-inch culvert and see how far those steel pieces go, but then we'd know for sure. But it's probably right on the edge of the guide rail or in the travel lane somewhat, so, and everything. So I think we'd meet that criteria also, and everything. So, yeah, I'll get you some more information and we'll go from there. And like I said, he's more than glad to come down and do a presentation and we'll go from there, so.
Okay. Do you know how quickly that could be? Because we're short on time as far, we have 7 weeks to
Yep.
get
Yep.
these applications in?
Yeah, I can call him, probably he'll do something one night next week or something, so.
Okay.
Yeah, he's always on the road, he's traveling all the time, so we'd be able to get something lined up, so,
Okay,
yeah, so, okay,
sounds good.
all right.
All right. And rolling right along. I wanted to take a moment to address the road committee ordinance that has been proposed, and I took some time to draft some comments that I had, and so I'm just going to read my comments, and then I'm going to ask my other committee members to weigh in with their thoughts, because I did not consult with anyone when I was writing this. So there's some confusion regarding the road committee seems to exist. To clear up any misunderstandings, the road committee is an elected board. They are the taxpayers' advocates in relation to roads and bridges. The road committee is and has always been an advisory board. The road committee has no, nor never has had any authority to issue directives to the selectmen or the road commissioners. The road committee makes recommendations which can be, and unfortunately are disregarded in most instances. The road committee was reestablished in 2002 at town meeting. In 2012, the Board of Selectmen contacted MMA to clarify the rights of the road committee. MMA stated the road committee is an administrative body and as such is empowered to carry out its functions. They went on to state the road committee functions as a partially independent administrative body that consists of subject matter, quote-unquote, experts, as it were, on town roads. As a formal administrative body, they would certainly have the power to convene meetings and set their own agenda so as to complete its legislatively created assignments. With that said, the Board of Selectmen should not be setting the agenda nor restricting the independence and autonomy of an advisory board. In relation to performance of the Board of Selectmen, in 2009, the comprehensive plan tasks the Board of Selectmen to establish a capital fund for bridge rehab replacement, along other duties, in order to address our deteriorating roads and bridges. It is now 2019, and what is the status of this fund? We have failing bridges and culverts. The DEP, upon seeing bridges of H Road culvert, said it appeared to be in imminent danger of failure. Our bridge reports are frightening. What is the Board of Selectmen plan? In addressing the ordinance as written, first of all, this ordinance is unnecessary. The committee members are elected, not appointed, thus are not under the direct purview of the selectmen. The road committee authority comes from town meeting, not the Board of Selectmen or the road commissioners. And going into several things in the ordinance, are road commissioners voting members? Are road commissioners required to participate? A quorum should be 3 voting members. For an example is the planning board. There are 5 voting members with 2 alternates. A quorum is 3. Duties. Per MMA, the road committee is quasi-independent. This committee does not need permission from the Board of Selectmen to act. Regulations. Why does the town administrator need to be CC'd on all correspondence? Meeting minutes suffice. It is unreasonable to CC the Board of Selectmen and road commissioners of all emails. The minutia of running the committee will be a distraction. Are other committees and boards, i.e. Planning Board, Rec Department, and Warrant Finance in town, required to CC Board of Selectmen all emails? If not, why is this particular committee being held to a different standard? In summation, town meeting voted for the road committee members to be their advocate and voice in relation to the roads. The selectmen have failed in their duty to the taxpayer. This negligence has resulted in failing bridges and culverts and deteriorating roads, which many are in poor condition. There is no plan in place to correct these deficiencies, and the town is open to liability should a road or bridge failure occur. The inaction of the Board of Selectmen has almost ensured this will happen. The road committee has shone a spotlight on this failure, and this ordinance is a direct assault on the initiative and integrity of elected officials. The placement of this ordinance outside of town meeting is a sly ploy to limit open discussion on its merits or lack thereof. This ordinance is nothing more than an attempt to silence the road committee, and this ordinance should fail. Those are my thoughts. Anyone else have anything?
I don't have anything specifically on the ordinance, but I would just say it's clear that we have to work together, all departments and all elected officials, to address the problems that we're facing. And so I hope that this can be a new beginning and foster a real stronger coordination.
It's frustrating year after year to state the same problem with maintenance on a bridge and watch it deteriorate more and more as simple annual maintenance isn't done. I don't really have anything to add to either of these now. I don't think we've had enough time to go over and discuss them and really form an opinion. I'm sorry that we weren't involved initially. When this was being written, it would have been nice to have a round table with us and the selectmen and the road commissioners and all be able to bat ideas back and forth. I guess that's all I have to say.
I'm good.
So, I mean, I didn't even know this was being written. I look at our website on a regular basis, probably at least once a week. I saw no notice on there. I did hear at one point there was notices put on the bulletin board. I don't feel that's sufficient notice for an open meeting. And I am really discouraged by seeing this, because this is effectively telling the road committee that they have no authority to do anything other than what the Board of Selectmen directs them to do. And I don't feel that that is what the taxpayers at town meeting voted to have us do. They voted to have us be their spokesman.
I'm sorry you feel this way, because it was in no way to tell you what to do, but I've only been a selectman for not even 3 years, and I saw the frustration you guys had the 10 years before I came on, and I thought this was being helpful, because I think the last town meeting to have a road committee established doesn't give you any duties to do or free will. I mean, you're an advisory committee. You advise and nobody listens to you, right?
That is true. However,
Because it's not, you've been told
when you say
that it's not your job to tell the road commissioners what to do. Right, okay, so I thought we were being helpful in giving you a list of duties to do so that the town people could vote in June saying, yes, let's give the road committee bridges and grants and let's give them something to do. And you'd have an ordinance to fall back on to say, yeah, we can do this. We don't have to wait for a road commissioner to tell us what to
At least that's
do.
what we've been doing, falling on deaf ears for the most part, which is fine. I mean, because we're an advisory board.
Yeah.
But however, when you put in there, no other duties shall be permitted or performed by this committee without approval from the Board of Selectmen, that negates.
Well,
any
what that does
autonomy
is
that
it
this
prevents
board
you from
has.
stepping on toes of the road commissioner's duties, which had happened in the past, and we're just trying to prevent conflict of that sort. It prevents you from reaching out to the state when, one of us was already going to do it or already have done it, so the state doesn't, they really should.
And that's a point well taken. However, they happened once that I'm aware of.
No,
One time
well,
does not
yeah,
make a
no, it
problem.
happened other times, and maybe you weren't around then, but, I don't know, I just thought we were being helpful, and I didn't mean to be, I don't think we meant to be, I don't know, you took it wrong, I guess.
I guess we're nervous. We went to the bridges today again. And there are films that were taken. And the Row Bridge looks like it's being undermined by water.
And right now, we're in the middle of waiting for HEB, and I know it seems like things are taking forever. They do take forever. They take a long time. I think we're making progress, and I'm sorry, it's not as quick as you'd like it to be. I don't know, you want us to tear apart the bridge tomorrow and start new? We can't do that.
No, I don't want us to do anything until we get an engineer to take a look
Okay, and
at
we're
it.
working on that. And
Okay.
the last we said was that he was waiting for the snow to melt so that he could get down under there. And he said April or May. And so here we are, mid-April. I will have Jennifer email him or call him, since I'm not going to create a third point of contact with Chris Fournier at HEB. We're gonna keep Jen as the main contact, and she will let us know what she hears back from him.
I mean,
Whether
it's,
it's
I
a-
mean, we need to build the relationships. I mean, I believe that the road committee has a very good relationship.
This is why I wanted a
with
public
Dave.
works director.
I mean, it's, anytime I've asked a question, he's always gotten back to me. So you know, those relationships need to be developed and fostered. And like I said, I was hoping that we would have the other road commissioner here, which I've never seen at a road committee meeting, which is one of my questions, is to, you know, if they're a member. I mean, the ordinance doesn't even address whether they're voting members. And those are important things. I mean, that's,
Like I said, we wanted your feedback. If you want to write up your own ordinance, but I feel like something needs to be written for the town to vote on what they want you to do, because right now, it's not working.
this was rushed.
Whatever
I
your,
mean, this was
it was,
rushed. And why weren't we involved in that process? I mean, we're part of it, so were the road commissioners, and the board, all three boards should have sat down and hammered it out. And writing ordinances is sloppy, and it takes time, and you don't just throw one together in a matter of a couple of weeks.
no
So what was
comment.
what was the point of?
I guess we do things differently, is that we would supply what we thought, what we've heard, that the road committee would be doing, and then get feedback. I mean, sometimes it is quicker and easier to do that when we're on a time constraint. We did want it on this June's warrant. Sometimes that is quicker. And with all the budget meetings during budget season, it was hard for even the four of us to get together. In fact, we didn't. I did some at home, Kim did some at home, Ed, we all kind of did a little bit at home and then hashed it together, and yeah, it was rushed, but whatever's going on now isn't working, and I feel like we need to do something about it.
And this ordinance, I don't see, is, as written, will solve anything.
The main thing is getting the maintenance done. That's where we miss out, is that the bridge maintenance hadn't been done for many, many, many years. And that's the kind of things that have to be spelled out, like annually, this must be done to the bridges. Annually, you've got to do this when the kids are out of school. They need a place to get off the road with their bikes. And that sort of thing has to be written up. I just don't feel we have enough time right now to get something together in such a short period of time.
Gavin Maloney. Just wondering, who's in communication with New Hampshire about the road bridges? At the selectmen? You know, like who takes on the communication with the town of Milton?
Well, according to this ordinance, if it passes, the selectmen would be.
How about right now?
When this first started, I went over to Milton a couple of years ago, and they really had enough problems. They weren't interested in this. This bridge would be their lowest priority. And I don't think they've changed anything. This is essentially our bridge, and it's the one we need for our commuters. It's the one that we need to get in and out of Acton. So this, we're on our own with this. And all the work, well, you saw up at the planning board, all the work is going to have to be done on our side and right up in that hill in that area, the culverts that we're talking about now.
But the answer to your question is, I believe that the Board of Selectmen are in contact, right? I assume. Yeah.
Just wondering, do you
if I can.
something on New Hampshire?
Answer the question. You asked the question of who is responsible for those. Well, the state of Maine charter, as a sworn official, as a road commissioner, it's the road commissioner's responsibility to maintain bridges, culverts, and the maintenance of the roads. That's state law. Until the town of Acton has a warrant and they decide to change it, now things start getting sticky. You're going to swear, you're going to have an election, people are going to vote who they want to have, and then you get sworn in and everything else. And then you're going to have an ordinance going to tell the road commissioner, this is what you're going to do. When the state says that this is what the direction is, the definition, yes, the town can supersede it, I guess the word would be, and everything. But as of right now, the road commission's the ones that, take the ball and see what needs to be done. As you said, we talk back and forth. I was on the road committee for over 10 years. It's a tool in the toolbox. I mean, for me to find the time to find that grant for the DEP and the classes you guys go to and the information to make it work and get the money that we get from the state funding, there's a lot to it. If the road committee were to be disbanded, Warrant and Finance is going to have to find some money for some clerical time, because it's going to be a lot of time for the road commissioners sitting there and doing a lot of clerical work and looking for monies that we can get and grants and everything. So, like I always said, it's a tool in the toolbox, and we're at that crossroad. The past is the past, and however the elections fall in June, and we just keep moving ahead, and that's all we can do. And my last comment will be about that ordinance. Probably a month ago at the Selectmen's meeting, I was asked, we're thinking we want to write an ordinance of the job description, whatever. Would you be interested in sitting down? Never got a phone call for anything. All I did was I got an email saying this is what it is for the road committee, and then I got one the other day is this is what the road commissioners are going to be. Again, we should have sat down, Cindy, as you said, sat down, had a coffee and some donuts, and let's shoot some ideas back and forth. This is how we're going to move ahead. You can't, decide we're going to do what we want and not get the other people involved, because then feelings get hurt, tempers flare, and then we're right back to where we were before. And if that's the way it's going to be, this town is not going to move ahead. It's just going to be at a stagnant area. So, but I think we really do. I think all of us need to sit down and look at this for the road committee and also as the road commissioners before an article's actually written to take the town meeting. So, other than that, hopefully that's it. So, I'll sit back down.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks.
Well, I have two things, and one of them is addressing how fast things move ahead. I got a copy. I asked questions about the West Shore Drive culvert. I got a copy of the report. The inspection by the state was done in February of 2018, I believe. I got it last summer. And at that point, the culvert had, according to the state, they listed 3 bridges/culverts in imminent danger of failure: Row, Canal, and West Shore Drive. West Shore Drive was built with a 20-year lifestyle. It's 21 years old. I'm biased. I live on West Shore Drive. When West Shore Drive gets fixed, however it gets fixed, when that went in, there was a 4-mile detour that Mr. Pepin let us use his land to drive around, because there is no other way to get into West Shore. Well, that's been since, well over a year. I mean, in 2017, the complaints started coming in. And I know a half dozen people in this room who have climbed in and out of it and seen it, and we all know it's when is it going to get done. 2 years is a long time. 2.5 years not to have a plan is an exceptionally long time. But that's West Shore. Now, as far as the road committee goes, I think Mr. Landry, I have that right, said it perfectly well. There are 2 things. This is an elected body, an advisory body, but an elected body. And according to MMA, by state, they have certain rights and obligations. I think the missing piece here, Mr. Landry can probably find it. You buy the donuts, I'll buy the coffee. When people start working together without somebody else telling them what to do, a third party. If you're not going to be part of the problem, you're going to be if you're not going to be part of the solution, you're going to be part of the problem. And the road committee needs to work with the commissioners And the road commissioners need to look at them at an equals, they're elected, you're elected. They are equal to each other. Selectmen are elected. Selectmen have the biggest piece of the pie because they hold the budget. Except that's not even true. The citizens hold the budget. We hold the purse strings. We vote up or down. But I don't believe, unless you start working together, not one group making rules for one group, but let the two groups work together, we're going to be having the same conversation next year and the year after. You know, and just put it together. As a taxpayer, it's getting very tiring. For the roads getting worse, the bridges getting worse, and he said, she said, she said, he says, and who are you to tell me what I can or can't do? That doesn't get us anywhere at all. And I think you have to get it together. Thank you.
I don't know if that really addressed my questions about New Hampshire, but it seems like it's Maine has the prerogative to go ahead with the road bridge. Is that
We
what I'm
we
hearing?
voted in $20,000 last year to do minimal repairs and to get an preliminary engineering survey. And that we're getting on right now. That'll be on us. Just like Canal
Yeah.
Bridge was done by Wakefield. We didn't pay for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But we need that bridge.
Right. And how many cars a day did you say go across the bridge?
500.
500 cars a day.
Yeah.
And it seems like most of them are from Acton, right? Like
Most of them
going to
from
the
Ac-
Spalding or,
Sure, they go to the Spalding. That's how they get to work, many of them. And our summer visitors, a lot of them come up that way from the lakes and hit the town hall,
right,
register their boats, you name it.
yeah.
It's an important road, important bridge.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
David, you're getting bad.
As I know, well, I just figured I might as well bring some good news into this. As of today's payroll, as we all know, winter came back twice last week for us, so we are still under budget. So the balance, before we'd have to go to a special town meeting, we still almost at 15,000. So we came in under budget for our snow year. Hopefully, we don't have to go anymore. District on roads, my son William, Robin Ham were out last week, finished up cold patch and what things we need to be done. Fixed a bunch of signs, stop signs, had a request for some school bus stop signs up on the H Road. That day or tomorrow, they're gonna be here at the town hall, getting things swept up. We're right in the spring mode, getting things swept. Intersections, north end of town, we were out Saturday afternoon when the good weather come out. Got going on that stuff there, and some of you noticed up on the H Road, dangerous areas up that were washed out. We started pulling shoulders today with a grader. Got a few more that we need to do, and then we're gonna go over to Garvin Road. We got some washout up there from come out of the orchard. I spoke to the owner of the orchard a couple weeks ago. He is gonna be working with his excavating contractor to remedy the washout problem that he had this winter. This is the first time. My great-great-aunt Claire is 93 years old, and she never remembers that orchard ever being plowed. So she worked up there for a number of years. And so with him having a house up there, plowing that tarred road, all that water from the heavy rain we had partway through the winter, wash that out on the Garvin Road, a section of that. So we have about 800 feet of shoulder we have to fix, a couple culverts that need to be dug out. Culvert's probably 3/4 full, but I'm gonna have Ness and Son come up, and we're gonna take a rod truck and shoot them and everything, get them flushed out so we can, get on top of that there with that. So, like I said, we're hopefully in the spring mode here and get things done. And the last question you were talking about was the maintenance. We had a wonderful class back the 1st of March with Jerry Douglas from Allstate Paving, which is a division of F.R. Carroll, who bought F.R. Carroll out. I'm meeting with him next week so we can get a 1, 3, and a 5-year plan together for the District 1 roads, so we know what we can have for budget numbers, the new technology, and everything. So That stuff is all, I was asked to put things together, and we're working together, and gonna have a plan. So next year, when it comes time for budget season, we're gonna pull the 3-ring binder off the shelf and say, this is what it needs to be, and as 1 year expires, there'll be another year. So every year, there'll be another sheet for the roads that need to be done, but like Mr. Douglas said, that maintenance, gotta pull your shoulders, do your shoulder work, and, get the water off the road, so.
Crack ceiling,
Yep, I've,
excellent.
Yep, I've got, we're fortunate enough, seeing when the municipality, whatever the state of Maine has for vendors, we fall underneath them. So I have a list of vendors that the state of Maine uses, and that's what I made some phone calls, hopefully we're gonna get something back from them and see what they can do for us and everything. So if you haven't, go to Maine DOT vendors. There's a whole list from traffic stuff, signs, everything. Every vendor the state of Maine uses, we're eligible to jump on board with them at the state contract price, so, and everything, so. But, nope, just wanted to give you an update what's going on the north end, so, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just another question. I was wondering what our main means for removing winter sand from the ditches was. Is it purely mechanical with excavators, or do we consider vacuuming it up and reusing it, or what is our main ditch cleaning method?
You want to go ahead, David?
In years past, it's always been mechanically with an excavator. And even now, a lot of the ditches, inlets and outlets of culverts, we've been shoveling them out to keep the water flowing here. A lot of leaves and everything. It's the hydrovac, those, that's expensive. I mean, those trucks are very expensive, and they have to have a volume of water. We have to have a place to get them water and everything. If we had to for some ways, we could, like I said, Ness and Sons out of Kennebunk, but typically we pull it and haul it off. And the other thing, which I will get a couple, was one of the concerns I have, I spoke with Kenny Paul about it, is written fill agreements. I feel that any material ditchings or anything, if somebody wants it, we give them a fill agreement sheet, they fill it out, map it out where their lot is and where they'd like the material dumped, and then bring it to Kenny Paul, and then Kenny will go out and inspect the property, and he'll sign off on it, and we'll give them, then the road commission will have permission to dump on private property. Reason being, there's all kinds of stuff on the side of the road. It's a very large liability. Like I said, the things that there are, but then also if you're encroach on somebody's shallow well and there's an issue or something, certain towns around us have been in trouble with that over the years. So I really need to get up on board with that there. So I'm going to get some information, and we'll sit down with the committee and with the select board, and we'll move forward on that. So.
You're using a salt priority in Sanford now.
What's that?
You're using salt priority in Sanford now. I know many towns are not using sand at all. And we're going to look forward to, in the future, not being able to use it because the final cost is $300 to $400 a yard. It doesn't go anywhere, and eventually you have to clean it up. It blocks your culvert, it blocks your ditches. I'd like to see us look into, and we have some information, Dover has done this, gone to brine. When you go to brine, you use a half to a third of the salt that we're using now, and you don't use any of the dirt.
Yeah, and it does have, as you notice out here in our parking lots, the fire station, everything, we run, as long as we can, we use strictly salt. Just for the point of the cleanup, we're not tracking it into the buildings, but we do live in Acton, Maine. We do have some hills, and it depends on the type of year, it depends on the weather, it depends on the temperature of the road and how this all works. So, I mean, it's, the applications for it can work, they may work, but then there's always the day that we still have to use some sand too, so.
We just have to go in that direction
Yep.
in the future.
So,
We're probably over
even so,
time.
so, all right.
Laura's coming out telling us to shut up, right?
You're not in overtime. I would just like to say about Mr. Langley, that as an observer and a warrant finance committee member, it's been doesn't have much time left. He's done a great job stepping in on either side of town. You can obviously see when you have a road commissioner that wants to work with the town, the committees in town, the citizens of town, what a easy process it is to accomplish something. And I think if we can get to that place, we're going to be a lot better off. Because like he said, the committees are a tool, and a very ambitious tool. And I've said many times that the people that's on this road committee, and any committee, are very valuable to the town. And I personally appreciate what all the people in the committees do.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I
Motion to adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Second?
Second.